Crazy Crab in the house, and today gonna do a quick non-spoiler review of the film I just watched at the movie theater, and it is John Wick Chapter 3, Parabellum, and this one is freaking awesome. And I'll put it to you this way: if you liked the first two movies, you'll like this one. If you hated the first two movies, you'll hate this one. And to me, that is a good sign for a movie within a franchise, because it means that it's consistent, that they're not trying to just subvert your expectations every 5 minutes. That's not to say it's predictable, because it's not. It's not to say that there may not be some twists and turns, because there are, but it's not a, I'm going to just shock you every 5 seconds. I'm going to just take these characters and make them do things that you would never expect them to do, and you're going to be like just completely confused by the time it's over. Not at all. Just an awesome movie. Unbelievable stunt work. I'm watching this thing like, how is this happening? How are they really not kicking each other's asses here? How is this guy going to survive such a thing? I mean, it was just amazing. An amazing experience. I'd recommend you to go check it out in theaters, especially if you liked either of the previous two installments. The cast was really good. Keanu Reeves back as John Wick. Awesome as always. I can't believe I would have never thought that there would be a franchise Keanu Reeves would be leading that I would be a bigger fan of than The Matrix. But overall, I like these movies better. I do love the original Matrix movie more than I love the original John Wick movie, but as a entire trilogy, or there could be more John Wicks to come, but as a whole, I think these movies leave me more satisfied, because The Matrix kind of starts to go quite a bit downhill, whereas John Wick, like I said, pretty much stays consistent. Even though, yes, it does drop off a little from the original, it's pretty close. It's not a total drop-off, because, again, the original wasn't, the greatest movie ever made, but it was just so badass. There was emotion, there was a reason to watch it and follow and root for John Wick. That is not as strong in the sequel and in this one, but it's still there. That original storyline hasn't completely gone away. There's still references to it. Halle Berry's in this movie. She is pretty freaking badass herself in this one. She's a really good character. Lawrence Fishburne is always really good. Angelica Houston is in this movie. I thought it was her when I watched it. I didn't even know she was in this movie, and I was looking at her. I was like, that's Angelica Houston, right? I don't watch a whole lot of her movies, if I'm being honest, but I was a diehard fan of the Addams Family and the Addams Family Values, and that's, of course, where she has a big role in those movies. There's a couple new characters. There's more than a couple, but Angelica Houston is one of them. But there's also a new kind of villain character. He's not a total villain, but he is a guy that Keanu Reeves, John Wick, is going to have to go up against. His name is Zero in the film, and he is badass, and he's also a pretty funny guy. And, he's just a humorous guy who likes to throw little one-liners out there, and he does, and it's funny, but he stays within himself, his character. John Wick doesn't start throwing a bunch of one-liners out and making jokes, because that would not be consistent with the character. So he does not do that, which is good, because if John Wick would have been thrown out, there is a little more humor in this movie, but it's not John Wick making the jokes. If it was, I'd say that's stupid. Even if it's funny, it's like, that's not consistent. Doesn't happen here. John Wick stays within himself. Zero is a funny guy, and he's going to make jokes at every opportunity. Okay, no problem. You have this new young lady who is kind of in charge of the high table, as it's called, and they are just running things. They're this kind of the top level here of this whole underground assassins world that these movies are about. And she is really good. I mean, she's very intimidating. She's got a great look on her face whenever she's doing business. And then she starts talking. Her voice doesn't quite match what I think she's going to sound like, but it's kind of creepy in a way, the way she talks. She really enunciates everything. She just talks really educated, but it is really hardcore too, what the things she says she does not play. I can't really describe it. You just got to watch it, but she is really, really good. All the characters in this movie are good. Winston is back. Lance Reddick is back as the guy who's kind of runs the front desk at the hotel. He's awesome. The whole cast was just on point in this film. They all got a role that was not forced. They all belonged for whatever their purpose was. They didn't try to force. They didn't try to just say, oh, we got to find something for this person to do. We got to find something for this person to do. No, everybody had their role. They played it to a T. Really good. Loved this movie. I mean, the action is just just mind blowing. It is just mind blowing. Like you watch it, and it's like, how did they freaking pull this off? How in the freak is this even possible? Even in 2019, when anything is possible, it's more impressive to me than a science fiction or a Star Wars movie or something where they're most of the work they're doing is on a computer. And even that, even though it's unbelievable, the CGI and all that, it's amazing. I'm not trying to downplay the impressiveness of what they do, but in a movie where you're watching human beings here fighting against each other, there's only so much you can do. There's not that much CGI here. This is happening, and I mean, I know they're putting sound effects over it, they're putting music, and they're putting and they do have to do some cuts and obviously put it all together, but it's still extremely impressive. I mean, my mind is just like, I'm really into these movies. I really love John Wick Chapter 3. I can't wait for John Wick Chapter 4. Again, it's not like it's a really amazing storyline. I always say story, you got to have a story. Don't just throw stuff out there on the screen, expect us to like it. But these movies are, action is what the key thing is. This is a badass John Wick. He's out there to kick ass. There is a story, and it's very simple, but it's still effective for this type of a movie. So I'm not saying there's not a storyline. There is a storyline, and it's effective, and it works. It's not a brilliant storyline. It's not a extremely thought out storyline where they try, which is in a lot of ways is good. You don't want to be confused watching this movie. You don't want to be like, what's happening now? What's going on? I don't know. I'm lost. I'm completely lost. You don't want that, and you're not going to get that. You're going to be able to follow these movies no problem, and they're just a lot of fun. So I hate movies that make a plot that's just so confusing, and they're almost like they're making it up as they go, and then they got to try to shoehorn stuff in to make it work, and it just becomes stupid. And that's very common these days. I'd rather have a simple plot that can be surrounded by all the awesome stuff that we want to see, and we can still follow a story. The story, like I said, not the most interesting story, not the most emotionally driven story. So it could be improved upon there, and I hope that they can find a way to improve upon that in future chapters. But as far as what you expect from a John Wick movie, you're going to get it. John Wick Chapter 3, awesome film. And for what it is, for being a John Wick movie, I have to rate this on that. I'm not comparing it to every movie ever made. I'm comparing it to what it is. And it's a John Wick movie, and I'm going to give it 9 out of 10 Lucases. Thanks for joining me, Crazy Crab. See you guys next time. Bye-bye.